Alright, in this very first lecture, we will learn what is recursion. By definition, it's a way of solving problem by having function call itself. In computer science, it's a method of solving a problem where the solution depends on the solutions to the smaller instance of the same problem. Such problems can generally be solved by iteration as well. The real-life example for recursion can be Russian nesting doll. Hopefully you have seen a set of Russian nesting dolls. If not, this is the picture how it looks like first. So at first, you just see one figure, usually painted wood, that looks like something like this. But here, if you remove the top half of this first doll, you will see another slightly smaller Russian doll inside it. You can remove this doll and again separate its top and bottom halves, and here again you see another doll even smaller than. So if you do it one more time, you will see another smaller one inside it. And you keep going until you find the smallest Russian doll. It's just one piece which cannot be opened. So as you see, a Russian doll is a sequence of similar dolls inside each other that can be opened, but every time the size gets smaller and smaller. Each time you open a doll, a smaller version of the doll will be inside, and you repeat the process until you reach the final doll that cannot be opened. So here, if you think of this big doll as a problem, you can see that the problem gets smaller and smaller instance of the same problem until we solve it. This technique is called recursion. So let's see the properties of recursion based on this real-life example over here. So here, our example of Russian dolls. So let's see that if the properties confirm with this example or not. So the first property of the recursion is performing the same operation multiple times with different inputs. So we perform this process of opening Russian dolls multiple times, and every time we open it with different size of dolls, which means that the input is different. So first we open from the bigger one, then we continue the one which is smaller, then again smaller, and this continues like this until we reach the smallest one that cannot be opened. So here we opened 10 different size of Russian dolls. As you notice that the process of opening all these dolls is always same. That's why in the property of recursion it says the same operation is being performed multiple times. Now the second property of recursion is that in every step we try smaller inputs to make the problem smaller. Similarly, in case of opening Russian dolls, we try to make the problem smaller. So we first open the bigger doll, then we continue to the next smaller doll, then we continue next smaller doll, and so on. Now the question is why we are making the problem smaller and smaller. Because every time we make the problem smaller, this makes it easier to find the solution at the end, which is the smallest Russian doll that does not contain any other. And finally, the last property of recursion is that base condition is needed to stop the recursion. Otherwise, infinite loop will occur. Basically, the base condition is the condition after that we will not do any more recursion. We will stop the recursion because we either would have found the answer or answer does not exist. In the case of Russian dolls, we open the first one, then the second one and the third one until we reach the one which is the smallest one that cannot be opened. So we have to mention that when we reach the smallest one that cannot be opened, we need to stop over here. Now you might be interested that what if we don't provide a base condition? In this case, the system will not know when to stop the recursion, and this will lead infinite loop. So no one wants to get inside an infinite loop because you will never come out of it. So hopefully you have understood all properties of recursion. So let's convert this Russian doll example into code and see how can we express it in computer science. So this is our method. So we have created this method in Java. So as you see, we have provided a base condition over here. The base condition is when we reach 1. So we are stopping over here saying that all dolls are open. And in other cases, we are calling this open Russian doll method recursively each time with the smaller input. So it will call itself until we reach the 1. So this is how the method of opening Russian dolls can be in Java. So here we have learned that by definition recursion is way of solving problem by having a function to call itself. And we have provided a real-life example of Russian dolls which makes understanding the logic of recursion easy. In case you still have problem understanding the recursion, you don't need to worry about it because we will talk about it a lot more details in the next videos. So see you in the next lectures.